Well, anything that would tell you to keep something from your parents, that's
that right there is a big red flag. Yeah, don't tell your parents.
But that was pulled off the shelf, but it had already sort of run its course after a while. But yeah, so I just, there is an impact on our kids, and it stays with us. Like, I was impacted by a lot of shows. I know a lot of people that watched Ghost Hunters and still watch the other off shows.
I got rid of all my Ghost Hunter figurines.
Did you?
Yeah.
Jason Hawes went in the garbage.
Yeah, gone. He didn't have any hair anyway.
Well, we still have our Josh Gates poster up. You do? Okay. Well, it was awesome having you.
We'll talk bad about you while you're gone.
I'll be listening, so I'll catch it.
And we'll be doing a show with you again in October, so.
Yeah, and I will be there the entire time for that one, so.
All right, you bet you will.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, Justin.
C'est la vie.
See ya.
Hasta la vista. See ya.
Okay, he's already gone.
Buenos dias.
Scott, he's
what?
gone.
Oh.
He's gone, dear. So, but if you take a practical viewpoint, are we so submerged in technology that people are seeking out spiritual stuff?
Well, it's made it a lot easier. What do you think?
Heck yeah. I think it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the research I do is all on the internet now. I don't even go to books anymore, although I've got a ton of them.
Well, you can get whatever you need to know off the internet. It's true.
Absolutely.
Including the book.
So easy. You just type in one single word, like let's talk about this witch thing. You just type in the word witch, and you get so many different links.
Yeah.
Different occultism type stuff, and of course you have this singular definitions and all that too. But it's just even like I was online the other day because my sister, she's a weirdo sometimes, and she loves these things called dead dolls, and it's basically these little baby dolls that are dead.
Oh.
And so they have like blood coming from their mouth, and they're green.
What?
Gray color, and they're zombie looking. Yeah, and their flesh is deteriorating and stuff. And she
What?
wanted one for her birthday, and I was like, I know how she is, and I'm okay. I can handle that kind of stuff. That's the way I am. I've grown up with that stuff, and I've got like virtually, for as odd as it sounds for a Christian, I've got a small painting. It was a hand-drawn artwork that is in the corner of my room, and it's a picture of a werewolf, but half of its face is dissolving off, and it has worms coming out of its eyes and stuff. Really crazy, weird, and creepy stuff. But I was looking at these dead dolls. I was like, all right, I'll just see about buying her one, see how expensive they are. And they start for around $20 or so. And I was maybe on there for 10 minutes, and I was just so physically nauseous with what I was seeing with these dolls. I just couldn't bring myself to buy it for her, let alone keep looking at them.
Yeah.
And so I stopped that, but there's these other things going on. Was it Monster High dolls or something like that?
Yep.
It's a TV show as well. Of werewolves and witches and mummies and just all kinds of stuff with paranormal background that little kids are watching.
Yeah.
And they have no clue what they're doing. And I think that a lot of the parents out there, they're like, oh, it's just innocent. It's cartoons. All cartoons are okay. But even Looney Tunes at one point was pretty bad. Really.
Oh, I know.
Looney Tunes was terrible.
Yep.
And I didn't see it back then. But nowadays, I'm like, whoa, what was I watching as a kid?
Yeah, I remember the Monster High thing. And again, they're trying to make it cute and acceptable, and I guess people think that's fun, but they're searching for that stuff, and I always find a trend.
What happened to G.I. Joe?
G.I. Joe. He was replaced with your Ghost Hunter guy figurines.
I mean, what the heck, man? We're vibing. I don't understand any of this stuff.
That's because, and only because I'm a mom and I know and I do so much research on the occult and what people are doing, but I think that
Barbie and Ken have been shelved.
Well, I think it's opening up. All this paranormal stuff is opening up spiritual doors. Wouldn't you agree, Eric?
Absolutely. I think so. I think a lot of people are more interested in this stuff because it's stuff they can't touch either,
Yeah.
I mean, G.I. Joe and Barbie dolls, and in a sense, they're kind of realistic. There are real life people that are actually G.I. Joes and are like Barbie dolls, in the sense that pretty girls driving around in nice cars and so on and so forth. But the paranormal thing, it's so far out there. And, the pastor once said that there's a God-shaped hole in all of us.
Yep.
a big one. You know, and I know growing up, a lot of people loved that show, and they got into the whole, you know, interest in witchcraft and carry your wands around and this and that. And just like people want to fill that void.
Yeah,
It's so easy to do nowadays.
Well, I think to me, and this is just me, and a lot of people think I'm weird for saying this, but to me, the spiritual and supernatural aspects are more real, because people in this life are so fake and phony. I mean, between putting on makeup, trying to look better, to a job where you have to pretend, you know, whereas the supernatural is just what it is. It's real, and
Right.
even though we view it as supernatural, I think it is. Oh boy, Scott's getting the Superman pose now.
I, for one, am supernatural.
Oh, jeez.
So I fully understand where the two of you are coming from. But let's keep in mind, in the book of Proverbs 22, it says clearly, if we train a child in the way that they should go, they will not depart from it.
But would that also mean that if we train them in the occult, they're not
Yeah.
going to depart from that?
Well, that's the same thing. You know, a lot of people, they don't want to teach right from wrong anymore. Let the child become what he's going to be.
Yeah.
Well, that parenthood, a lot of people have just lost their way with that. Society is government, everybody else. Well, you know, my son was just telling me today, he's a teacher, and it's all around school, so he's already started teaching this year. And he's got a student, and he's teaching in the 9th and 10th grade or something like that.
9th grade and 12th grade.
Yeah. And he's got a student in there that cannot read.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot read at all.
He's in
But
9th
the
grade.
society has pushed him all the way up to that point where it's okay.
Like, my son, they put Mr. T on the folder, and he had a hard time even writing Mr. T. So, but I guarantee that guy knows how to play video games.
And this is nothing against the child, but this is where we're at today. Oh, well, it's okay. You know, they're going to do what they're going to do. And
Well, that's why I like shows like theirs, like Paratruth Radio, and shows like ours, because we give them information, and
Yeah.
we try to teach, you know, what's really going on, and they are more than welcome to look up everything that we talk about. So you got to find out for yourself. You can't just listen to us and say that's the way it is.
I mean,
Right.
yeah, we're not always right. I would say, well, our show's probably usually right, but
Oh.
yours.
Oh, they've got a great show.
But, you know, you
That
people do have to be responsible with scripture. They got to be responsible with information or anything else. They got to say, well, hey, what about that they said this? Let me look that up. But we do have some listeners who will write us back and say, hey, I looked that up for myself and you were right. Well, I'm glad, because they looked it up. I want you to look it up.
Right. Yeah, that's
I
the
want
whole
you to
point.
see, because if you look that up, you're going to be looking something else up. You're going to see something else. And that's what I want people to do. Look for yourself.
And I think it's great that you guys have a show like you have, because, like, personally, when I was first saved, I handled things much differently on the radio shows, and I often blasted people. You know, I often blasted pagans or mediums and so on and so forth, and that's not really quite the way you should be
Right.
in your relationship, obviously.
Yeah.
And so, being a young Christian back then, it took some time to really regroup and understand what I was supposed to be doing as a Christian. And so, yeah, having shows like this now where I can talk when I'm one with a pagan and understand everything they're saying, and actually see, like, yeah, I can see why you think that's true, because it does make sense, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, we have to build that relationship and just, you know, be a friend, if you will. Be willing to discuss things on an equal platform, if you will. And just let people know, like, yeah, you know, this stuff out here, it's real. It's bad. It's dark. But here's the good side of it, like the Christian view of it, you know, to help you better understand even more why this is bad. And yeah, you know, if you're not sure, you don't agree, check it out for yourself. You know?
Right.
That's why we do this. You can balance them on the scales yourself and see which one outweighs the other. But
I think society talks about the paranormal involved in TV and movies and games as fantasy, but it's not. It's real. And I think that when people are making these video games and all this stuff, that what happens is I don't know how, they're channeling it. Their spirit knows that this demonic stuff is real. You know, don't you think?
absolutely. And I'll tell you what, you know, there's so many horror movies out there.
Oh.
And that's like, that's nothing. That's just, I see that in a sense as fantasy, even though some sick people out there, unfortunately.
Yeah. We watch an old TV show called Thriller, and it's hosted by, is it Bela Lugosi?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
It's hosted by Bela Lugosi, so it's like it's in black and white, and it's really good because you get that supernatural aspect without really getting too dark and I don't know, too gory. It's really good.
Yeah, we don't have any of that.
Yeah, and then the old Alfred Hitchcock shows we watch.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff's classic. I love it. So that's like our thing, but I can't watch Paranormal Activity and stuff because I know that stuff's real because, like you said, we've seen it. And so it's like, I don't want to see it anymore. Like, I'm trying to get it out of my head, not in it. But like with shows and stuff, I think it serves as an occult simulator. Like how pilots get used to planes in their simulators first, and then I think the entertainment uses the occult to get people used to darkness and evil.
Oh, yeah.
And it creates like a familiar thing, and with terms, methods, names, powers, all through that repetition and suggestion.
Well, there's people who call themselves experienced and professionals just by all the junk they've watched on TV.
Yeah.
And they start using these terms and things, and oh yeah, that's a poltergeist, or that's a this or that, and like.
I've seen Ghost Hunters 4 times. I know.
That's an orb. I know that's an orb.
Oh, don't even get me started. I'm going to do a whole show on orbs. Oh, my word. But, and then what happens is, as you guys know, too, it opens up demonic influences. So I don't understand why people are so surprised that there's hauntings and mental illness and killings in the name of Satan and stuff, because we willingly entertain Satan's devices, and this is what we get when we're doing that stuff.
The Bible tells us that in the last days, we will be filled with the occult, and that the leaders of this world and in the end times will be familiar and practicing in the occult. That's thunder.
Oh, did you hear thunder?
I heard it.
That's crazy.
Well, we got a pretty good sized storm going in here, so any levitating that goes on here will have nothing to do with demonic influences, but that of natural influences called like tornadoes and heavy winds. So if we lose each other, we are in a storm. So anyways, in Daniel 8:23 through 25, it says, "And then in the latter time of their kingdom, or the last days, when the transgressors' sins are come to the full, the king of the fierce countenance and the understanding the dark sentences, or occult, shall stand up, and in the power shall be mighty, and but not by his own power or demon influence. He shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people, and through his policy also shall cause."
We got sound effects.
I know. Witchcraft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace or deceit shall destroy many, and he shall also stand up against the prince of princesses, but he shall be broken without a hand. So we know in these last days, darkness is rising up. It's going to have power, it's going to have strength, it's going to have influence, and that's all part of it. It's going to destroy many things, and we even see that in our country today, all the different things that are being destroyed, just one little thing at a time, whether it be our flag, our rights, taking our commandments down, or whatever it is. It's just one little destruction after another.
I think evil's prepping us, and like kids are numb to darkness, and you told your story, Eric, about your sister. If maybe, let's say 20 years ago, not even 10 years ago, if there was a kid who saw this dead baby doll, they probably would have freaked out.
And now it's like, let's buy it.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen this.
How old's your sister?
She's 25.
Oh, wow.